Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome, welcome.
Hi.
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 Hello. How are you, Angela?
Good. How are you, Sarah? Good to see
Very well. Thank you. Welcome to our fireside chat tonight. We've got some great things to talk about, something that's very important to me. Hi, Thomas.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So nice to see you.
Same here.
Yeah. Hi, Marcia. I can see your comment. Glad you're here. Marcia's traveling across the country right now, so she's joining us from somewhere on her way home. So I want you guys to really try to find yourself a comfortable spot. I'm all about this, as you probably know. I really encourage you to put bolsters, grab a blanket, anything that is going to make you feel more comfortable, warm, safe. We're going to spend the next 75 minutes together traveling down a path of authenticity. This is something that I am very, very excited about because it is a lifelong quest for me. Right. Sarah, would you like to start? Having people come in? Yeah. Go right ahead.
I will introduce myself. I am the other Sarah. Welcome. And I actually work with Sarah B. I'll call her Sarah B for this. We work together. I get to support Sarah B in her business. And
hallelujah.
we have a wonderful relationship, and I'm really excited to be assisting with our fireside chats and just kind of, hold the conversation with Sarah. I am also going through my own personal rediscovery journey and all that stuff, and Sarah's been a really great mentor for that. So I'm excited to be here with all of you.
Thrilled to have you here. I find in these kind of events that I only want to hear my voice for so long. It's one of those things where you can talk and talk about something, but it's really my hope that we give you an experience, that you come into this environment and you feel, as we're calling them fireside chats, the warmth of what gathering around a fire would feel like, and how you make yourself cozy based on your seat and your clothes and all of what you're doing to land there to receive the information that you've come to share. So we are going to I'm just muting everybody. If anybody isn't muted, if you'd please be so kind as to mute yourself, that would be great. And so that is really my inclination tonight. I'm going to start by telling you what happened for me tonight. So in this beautiful journey of returning home to myself, I am finding that there's a personal study that happens to me in the quiet moments of my life. After having been someone that meditates and has done this for a long time, I have really become astute at watching myself like I'd watch a movie. So the good and the bad news now is that I just really don't get away with anything. And it's been very interesting for me lately to watch myself through this process of trying to find what feels truest to me. And so as I was preparing for this evening, I found myself doing what I usually do in a way that felt somewhat obsessive, because that's one of the ways that I handled my trauma. I handled my trauma by let me make everything on the outside of my life to the best of my ability, um, look a certain way, feel a certain way. Let me try to control it. And so whenever I'd have an event or was teaching yoga or whatever it would be, whenever I was presenting, I would make notes, so many notes, so much planning. And truthfully, by the time I got to the event, I was exhausted. And it was just like no fun. It was like, well, what if I miss that? What if I don't tell them this? So tonight, of course, what did I do today? I prepared. You better believe I prepared. And what did I do at about 5:30, 5:45? I said, throw those notes away. Let's just land. And so Sarah and I were just talking prior to getting on, and I told her this, and I said, I'm a little nervous about that. And she said, I get it. I get it. But I tell you this because that's really what it takes. So that practice, what was that practice? The practice was noticing myself in an old, hyper-vigilant way of being. I'd already determined it wasn't fun when I did it. I also already determined that I was tired after doing it. So what happened was, let me try something new. Let me try something new and see how this lands for everybody. So I sit here before you today as somebody that is on this path with you. I live this too. And it is my promise to myself that when I notice myself doing it, and sometimes I don't, right? Sometimes we won't. But when I do, I'm going to do something about that, and I'm going to change it. So we've prepared some questions that Sarah is going to ask me tonight. But we also want to know why you're here. Why did this title of this program intrigue you? Why did you take precious time out of your beautiful evening to join us here? Okay. So I'd love for the chat. I'd love you to put things into the chat and let us know. Let us know. Was there anything else we wanted to ask them, Sarah? Why are you here?
Maybe where you're tuning in from. That's always fun. Where
Yeah.
you're at in the world. We like to
Yeah.
know where people are.
Yep. I think I just saw somebody translating in our English, so they might be from another country.
Oh,
But this
perfect.
is from Vancouver. Carol, yep. Great.
Yeah, and
It's
also too, if
Cleveland.
while we're having a discussion, if you guys have any questions, you can drop them in the chat as well. And Sarah can answer them. We'll make sure that everyone gets answered.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Cleveland, Ohio. Oh, that's Marcia. You made it to Cleveland. Great, Marcia. Carol. She's not, I can't see where she's from.
Ooh,
Sunny.
Australia.
Yep. Camano Island, Washington. Miami, Florida. Vancouver, Australia. Wow. What time is it there? Is that early morning? It must be. I am from New Hampshire. Yay, so am I. Hi, Karen from New Hampshire. Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, 10 a.m.
Wow, 10 a.m. Karina from Perth. Wow, beautiful, beautiful. Well, welcome, all of you, welcome. We're so happy you're here. All right, well, we're going to start. We're going to start in here. And as I said, we're going to wing it. We're going to see how it goes. I think it's going to go great. All right, Sarah, I'm ready when you are.
Yeah, do you actually want to start with a breathing exercise?
Mm. How's that feel? How about we land here together, everybody? That's a great idea. Okay. So this breathing exercise is one that hi, hello, Christoph. Nice to see you again. Nice to see you. This one is on my website, I believe. And if it is not, I will absolutely put it in the replay because you'll all get this replay with the details that we speak about tonight. Okay. So don't worry about notes and all that. We'll have them for you. So links and whatnot. But this is a meditation to do when you don't know what to do. And it is a powerful one because it really just drops you into these various ways of breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, in through the mouth, out through the nose. So I'll guide you for the first couple and then see if you can just do it yourself. Okay. So we're going to do probably about 8 rounds of this. But what I'd like you to start to do is really experience this breath through your body, almost as though the breath starts breathing for you, not the mind. So you're not thinking about, yeah, let me take it in through the nose. Oh, okay. If you get lost, you get lost. Don't worry about it. Okay. So I'll take you through half of those and then I'll give you the opportunity to do them on your own. All right. So sitting up and allowing yourself this really beautiful, comfortable seat. Feel your feet on the ground and feel how your feet touch the ground, if in fact they are on the ground, unless you are lying down. And if you are lying down, notice where your body touches the couch, the bed, the floor, the earth, let's call it. And then I'd like you to notice your hands and where you place your hands. My hands are on my knees. And feel the warmth of your hands touching your body. And is there any sensation, any tingling, any energy that you can feel alive in your hands? And then I'd like you to just take a very gentle, easy breath in through the nose and watch what the belly does. So inhale, 1, 2, 3. And then exhale through the mouth, 1, 2, 3. And this time I'd like to invite you to inhale and expand that belly in case you didn't in the last cycle. So inhaling, 1, 2, 3. And then as you exhale, feel that belly move towards the spine. One more time, just like that. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, release your belly towards the spine. 1, 2, 3. And now just let that land. Let's begin. Inhale through the nose. 1, 2, 3. Exhale through the nose. 1, 2, 3. Inhale through the mouth. 1, 2, 3. Exhale through the mouth. 1, 2, 3. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the mouth. Exhale through the nose. Now we start again. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Inhale through the mouth. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the mouth. Exhale through the nose. And we start again. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Inhale through the mouth. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the mouth. Exhale through the nose. Now, on your own for 2 more rounds. And then on that exhale, release the breath and just find a normal breath for 2 more rounds. And then let the breathing just be very normal and natural as you slowly come back into our circle, to our fireside chat. And I always like to just put my hands on my heart center as I just love that this opportunity brings me inside. The moment I close my eyes, my energy comes back in. So now the focus is really based from my heart center rather than the outer circumstances of my life. So it's an incredible opportunity. Thank you for joining me in that. All right, Sarah, I think we're ready.
Hey. So earlier, I don't know if everybody was here, but Sarah said that we were going to go through just some questions that we had prepared. But feel free to, if something resonates or if you want us to elaborate on something, write it in the chat. Obviously, this is a fireside chat, so we open all dialogue, or we welcome all dialogue. But my first question I was thinking about this during our breath work and how you said earlier that you kind of got into this mindset of, I have to prepare something, I have to be organized for this. And to you, that's not necessarily how you authentically operate. And my first question was, what role do trust, love, and forgiveness play in the journey towards self-healing and authenticity? So I'm just wondering if there's something that you can expand on how, when you have these moments where you're finding yourself in a space of inauthenticity or doing something that doesn't feel aligned, how do you know to trust yourself to then come back and flip the script?
Mm. Well, I think what I said earlier regarding awareness and cultivating that observer or that witness consciousness, that ability to watch yourself in its truest form. I also would have to add here that one of the ways that I know that is really through my body. So, you know, it really, I believe, at least in my own experience, that when things happened, when my mother left, when my dad died, there was this sense of it not being safe to be in this body anymore. So I went out of my body to find a better version of myself. And what that did to my physical body, when we're absent energetically from the body, there is a longing. There's something that's missing. We're missing, right? And so I became very, very keen at understanding what those signs were, where they showed up. So I would say that really tuned me in to these times, like my belly would get funny, or we'd go out into certain events and I wouldn't feel like I could show up as myself. And so consequently, I would have all these physical references. So that, like I spoke of earlier, became exhausting, uncomfortable. It made me not want to go out. It made me not want to do those things that felt like pressure, that I had to be somebody other than who I was. But the trust and the love piece, I really appreciate this question because this is total trust. This is like really jumping off the cliff and praying that the parachute is there, and I guess there's just this is where the courage comes in, right? There's really no other way of doing it. You're not going to do it because I say it. You're going to do it because you've had an experience that says, I can't do this anymore. I can't. I'm too tired. I just have no ability to carry on in this way. So I've got to find another way, right?
Mhm.
And the forgiveness is, at least for me, was like forgiving myself for ever leaving, like forgiving myself for thinking I wasn't enough, forgiving myself for trying to be more than thinking I had to be more than what I am, you know?
Yeah.
I,
Yeah. And Marcia commented on in the chat, I'm here to have the courage and knowledge to be me, my essential self, tired of being the person I think everyone wants me to be.
boom,
Yeah.
tired. Hmm.
Yeah. Also creates anxiety, anxiousness, that hit in your stomach that you were talking about.
Yeah. In fact, that's the first thing I do with clients and students is help them find their way back in through body scan, through calibration, through experience. Like don't tell me how this feels through your mind. And those of you that have had me as a coach know that it's like, no, that's a mind. That's a mind talking. That's not a body talking. So tell me how the body's feeling.
Mhm. I think it also goes along with the human design conversation that we were having the other day, where if it's not like this full body feeling of a yes or a no or a I don't know, that doesn't make me very comfortable, or if it's not like coming from the gut or within, then it's not, you know, um I don't want to say like a proper decision, but you know, something that
An authentic decision?
an authentic decision.
Yeah. Somebody just asked if you'd repeat the question.
Okay, so it is, what role do trust, love, and forgiveness play in the journey toward self-healing and authenticity?
Anybody have any more questions on that question? We're good.
My next question is, how did that experience of holding back affect your confidence in future situations where you had the chance to express yourself?
Say that again, Sarah. How
How
did
did
that?
the experience of holding back
Mhm.
affect your confidence in future situations where you had the chance to express yourself?
Well, what it did for my confidence when I repeated the same unhealthy behavior, you know, was it really worked on my confidence. It just sort of fortified the fact that I wasn't enough, that I wasn't smart enough, bright enough, whatever, funny enough. Um, one of the things I put in the notes that I really do want to speak to is I always used to say I much prefer a wedding. I much prefer a funeral to a wedding. And that came to me once and it was like, what is that? It was like, oh, it's a funeral. Phew, good, let's go. Because, and then I drilled down on it. It was like, because think about it. Think about funerals. Think about the truth, the rawness. People show up truthful at funerals because they have lost somebody. They have lost somebody. And so for me, it was like that these are these are my people. There's nothing to cut through, right? I can show up real. They will appreciate my realness. These are my people, is how I would feel. So I think, it's little messages like that, little like, oh, wow, that's an interesting thing. Noticing those parts of yourself. Where do you feel authentic? What kinds of environments really make you feel like I can be me? I can be me. I can say stuff that isn't socially correct, or isn't all shined up. And, I guess I want to read you guys this because this woman has just written a book. It's called Worthy. And I heard it on a podcast Oprah had done with her. And you'll have this in your notes too. We'll get this to you, so don't worry. But her name is Jamie Kern Lima, and she just wrote a book called Worthy. Okay. And this is the opening paragraph. And it's titled, You Become What You Believe You're Worthy of. She says, do you remember the first time, perhaps as a little kid sitting in a classroom, that you knew the answer but decided not to raise your hand? With a slight pit in your stomach caused by the new and daunting awareness of other people's opinions, you debated raising your hand and going for it until you decided not to. And just like that, in a single moment, you began to live in a way that was incongruent with your soul's fullest expression. You doubted, you held back, you hid, you played it safe. You questioned whether you were wrong. even though you knew you were right. You questioned if you were smart enough. You questioned if you were enough.
Yeah.
There are the roots. There are the roots of why we don't live authentically.
Yeah. You almost don't think that it comes at such a young age, but it stems so much from, when we were children and how we showed up then or the environment that we were in
That's right.
and how the long-term effects that it has on confidence and forgiveness and self-love and authenticity.
Yeah, and I would also add to the forgiveness piece, Sarah, that um, forgiving others, like I don't know. I know I did it. I blamed others. They made me feel like that, you know? And really, the roots of where my insecurities and my not enough came from were really young. You think of how young we are if we've had any level of health in our early life. We are possibly at home, possibly that's school, possibly it's other circumstances. But what makes us question that? And don't you know people that just didn't play by the rules? I do.
Mhm.
They were my mentors, young friends that just were like a little wild and just said, I'm not playing by those rules.
Yeah.
They weren't friends of the teacher or the principal, but boy, they were true to themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, if that reading connected with you guys, we'd love to hear it in the chat. Put a yes or what came out of that resonated, just so we can hear that, from you. Yeah, social situations. Yeah.
I'm here because I lost my purpose with a breast cancer journey and tore 3 of 4 rotator cuffs. Had to give up my harp nonprofit and now can't even play the harp. I'm from Virginia, Maryland. Yes, I'm so sorry for that. Marcia, I'm here to have the courage, knowledge of me. Tired of being, I believe we saw that one. Sarah's example of funeral versus wedding. I love stormy days because I can relate more to a storm than to a sunny day. I'm with you. And a sunny day brings more expectations to show up and feel a way I'm not so familiar with. Wow. I always knew the answers in school, but in social situations, not so much. Oh, Jill. Yeah. Yeah.
So my next question goes along with this, but I actually have a twist to it that I want to ask as well.
Mm.
So it says, looking back, what advice would you give to your younger self in those moments of hesitation? But I also want to add that what advice would you give yourself right now to your younger self when you have moments of hesitation now? Because if you think about it, when you have those moments of hesitation, it's that little girl that's coming back
Yeah. Beautiful.
versus the Sarah now.
Mm. So when I notice, I still sometimes have the inclination when I'm uncomfortable to blame the situation. It happened the other night where I went in and it was just classic. There was dear friend of mine has started this Thursday Umbrian supper club.
Mm.
And it's really cool. But it's a group of women I don't know. And maybe just knew a couple of people there, and there were like 18 people there. And so I could feel myself getting worked up, you know, and
Mhm.
I was working with it. And I was getting ready and looking in the mirror, and I have this way of pursing my lips, you know. I can tell, you know. It's just like, there she is. There's not fake Sarah, but there's Sarah that's trying to put it all together. And I just said, "You are enough. You are enough. You are enough." And I just envisioned myself going into that environment and how I would tend to myself, what I needed to do, and just sort of thought it out really methodically. It's kind of clunky in the beginning when you're starting to be aware of changing habits. But I had such a spectacular time. And, you know, it was really cool to be me. And I just, I have no more time for not being myself anymore. And I know when I'm not, and it's just no fun.
Mhm. Yeah. Marilyn in the chat, I'll ask it again. Sorry about that. I had that like last minute ad on there. But the question was, looking back, what advice would you give to your younger self in those moments of hesitation?
So it's almost as though when that happens, and as you said, Sarah, you know, it is your young self. It's like I have a daughter, so I can envision what it's like to have a little girl tugging on my sweater or my pant, you know, when she's uncomfortable, or maybe hiding behind my leg or whatever it would be. So I envision that little girl. Um, I have a lot of pictures right now on my refrigerator and on my bathroom mirror of myself as a little girl.
Mm.
And so I have the ability to really see her and see this kid. And what I always think of doing is just putting my arm down there and stroking her, you know, as a mother would, as a loving person would, and just being that confidence for her when she's just not got that.
Mhm. Yeah. Thomas said, I would tell myself it's okay to fail. At times, it doesn't mean you are a failure. If you make a mistake, it doesn't mean you are a mistake.
Mhm.
Unconditional love.
Thomas, thank you for that. You are loved. You will be loved, Marcia says. Oh, such beautiful comments you're all adding. Thank you.
We should probably add the questions to the replay just so that they have them in text form. But my next one is there a specific experience or sensation that typically triggers the realization that one is not living authentically?
Ooh. Yeah. I just I just heard something on this, and it was fascinating. It was a psychologist talking about, Thomas, do you know this term, anhedonia? Have you heard of that term, anhedonia? Is that the term, Amy? I know Amy and Sarah both heard me talk about it. I think it's called anhedonia. We'll put it
I
into
think
the
so.
notes. Is it anhedonia? I think so. Yeah, Amy says, I think so. Um, and so anhedonia is actually a psychological term that talks about this emptiness that you are, you know, functioning at a high level. So let's just say I would say I had feelings of anhedonia, which is I was carrying on like what I was doing, overly preparing for an event, right? I'll show up perfectly. I'll do this. I'll do everything right, doing all the work, but feeling completely empty, feeling completely uh like the experience was just nothing. I wanted to get away from it. I didn't want to be near it. I would, a disassociation, I guess, that I was disassociating. Um, and the thing that really fascinates me is that I've been doing this work for like 30 years. And so it wasn't that, and I really want to emphasize this, guys, because it wasn't that I was trying to be unauthentic. It was the best I knew. It was the best I knew. I was healing. I was walking a healing path. But until you have this awareness that, oh my God, that's what I'm doing. Look at what I'm doing. Let me change that. That's the best you can do. So for me, it was like, like this particular class I taught for almost 10 years. And one day it was like, I can't do this anymore. My husband's like, whoa, what do you mean you can't? What's wrong? It was like, I can't do it anymore. And it was the level of perfection that I had to bring. The candles had to be a certain way. The mats had to be lined up a certain way. And it was like, and then if the class didn't come off the way that I wanted, or I didn't think that people got out of it what they needed to get out of it, like, who am I to say that first and foremost? It would feel like a failure. And so there just was this kind of codependent, it's a tough thing to untangle at times. But the alternative was that I was going to continue to live like that, and I couldn't. And it just fueled my my hopes and my dreams that things could be better. And it's like with every one of these beautiful awarenesses, when I'm given the chance to do it differently, I grow, I heal. I go, wow, look what I did tonight. I threw away my notes and showed up. And that's what it takes. Throw away the notes and show up.
Yeah. Well, my next question was going to ask, what should one do in response to such a realization?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I answered it. I think it's, I think I write about this in my book, Cultivate the Opposite Thought. Cultivate the opposite thought. So if you're going down that path, you're aware of it, you're doing it, you see yourself doing it. What can you change here? What can you do differently that would feel really supportive and remyelinate the brain, right? That's how we do. We change these behaviors.
Mhm.
Let me just shift. And it's not swooping shifts, big broad stroke shifts. It's what's the turtle step? And for me tonight, the turtle step was show up without your notes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important to also add that or add on to what you said, that it's not something that's gonna like happen in this big, crazy way. I think it's just like the little moments in life. When you're cooking dinner and you say, oh, my kids are not going to eat this. They're not going to like it. Or when you're submitting something for work and you have a moment of doubt. Did I do this well enough? Did I show up well enough? Is my boss going to like it? And just
Right.
trusting in yourself.
Trusting in yourself. And isn't it one of the 4 agreements, right? It's always do your best, and your best constantly changes.
Mhm.
So what is your best? And be all right with that. Like if you're showing up and you make a decision that you can show up, but today is not a big energy day, or you have a sore belly or some chronic pain or whatever it might be, or you're weary, understand where you are. That's authenticity. know how you meet the day or the event.
Mm.
And maybe that is explaining to somebody, like I explained to Amy and Sarah when we get on a meeting. My God, we've been working together so long. It's like, hey guys, guess what? Today is not a strong day. I am not in creative mode. Okay. What do we have to get accomplished?
Mhm.
Or they say it, because life happens.
Mhm.
We have lives and they're always changing.
Mhm. Yeah. I think this would be a good moment to share that poem that you wrote.
Oh, yeah. So, this poem is a poem that I was on a retreat, and John Kabat-Zinn, who you may not know, he's a pretty famous man that teaches meditation and mindfulness, and he was at this retreat, and he got up and read this, and I, deeply seeking at this point, as I always am, and he read this, and I just felt tingles everywhere in me when he read it. And tonight, if we have a little time, I'd love to tell you what I read about this poem, because I'd never read any sort of details regarding it. Uh, but I'll read it to you now. Um, and it's so beautiful. Let me just get there. Hold on one second. So Derek Walcott is the author, and it's called Love After Love. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, "Sit here, eat." You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. And this is what I found on this poem, which I love, and I want to read it to you guys. It says, this poem explores the journey of self-love and acceptance. It begins with the speaker speaking to a future self, describing a time when they will find joy in being alone. The speaker encourages the future self to embrace the stranger that is themselves and to let go of the past. The poem is characterized by its simple yet powerful language and its use of repetition to emphasize the importance of self-love. It is similar to Walcott's other works in exploring themes of identity, loss, and longing. However, it is unique in its focus on the transformative power of self-acceptance. This poem explores the journey of self-love and acceptance. Oops, that's the same. Yep, sorry, I just duplicated that twice. So that's that poem that, very clearly speaks to what we're talking about tonight. This journey. I am going to read you something. We are also in the process of creating. We're not sure if it's a private podcast or a public podcast yet, but we're calling it Brave Rest. And um, I really, I really want to emphasize, as I do in most of my live events, that so much of maybe not just so much, maybe all of what this means to grow and heal in this way depends on us being able to find places to rest, places to capture a stillness, whatever that might mean to you. And for me, whether it be meditation or what I do now is really just some afternoons, it's about getting horizontal. And I might be reading a magazine, I might be listening to something, I might not be listening to anything and just resting. But it's about consciously making a decision to pull out of the busyness of my day and find quiet. And so, all of what we're asking here is to really find this courageous action that says, watch, be aware. Where are you right now? Where are you right now? What do you need right now? Because when we can start communicating and interacting with ourselves in that way, that generous, courageous way, we have this reserve that grows, this safety that grows, this opportunity to be courageous that grows. Because when we're not rested and we're really just playing from that place of survival, we're just not in a place of being able to do that level of observation and practice. That's why I'm really committed to this being like our fireside chat. We're going to do this. I'm coming on to talk to you at least twice a month. We're hoping for a speaker, somebody that's going to be speaking to something we're interested in the second part of the month. But no matter what, I'm going to get on with you and speak at least once a month. So we want these to feel like you're having an experience. We're talking and you guys are interacting with us through the chat, but we really, really want this to feel like, yeah, let me go rest with my people. Let me go rest.
Okay. I'm going to move on to my next question.
Yeah, ready.
Have there been times in your adult life when you've successfully overcome the fear of not being enough?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Yeah. Yeah. I think so. I am doing a lot of work on my subconscious right now through dream work. And in fact, our second speaker on the 28th is a mentor of mine. Her name is Amy Pearson, and she's a dream analysis. And she's going to come on and we're going to have more conversations about subconscious and authenticity. But I'm doing a dream course where I'm analyzing my dreams right now and talk about really getting to you.
Mm.
Whoa, I'll tell you, it is something else. And so I was talking to my daughter yesterday because, of course, she's known me all her life. And she knows my hypervigilance and my ability to get things done. And she said, Mom, she goes, I have to tell you, I was last week when we were talking, she said, and you were just telling me you were like sitting around watching a great show and oh yeah, I wasn't going to be overly worried about any particular thing. And she's like, I just wanted to say, who is that on the other end of this line, Mom? She says, you never say stuff like that. And it's just like, I feel so comfortable these days. And I wanted to say this too, because this isn't about just being happy. Okay, we talked about the happiness blueprint, right, in November, where we talked about the importance of happiness as a destination. Excuse me, not as a destination, as a direction, not as a destination. And that's the reason so many people so oftentimes get stuck, is it's like, well, wait, I thought it was supposed to be happy. What's happened? I'm not happy. But what comes of all this is that the importance of being able to understand and watch and really relate to yourself allows you the chance to know where you are. As we talked about it earlier, this is a tough day. This is a tough day for me. Well, guess what, Sarah? I've got all sorts of things in my toolbox to take you to. Take my hand. I'm going to take you over there. We're going to go see what you might need right now. So I've gotten very good at picking up the old toolbox and going, this is what I need. And where my daughter caught me last week was in one of my toolboxes, which was I spent a fair amount of time on the couch watching documentaries that I love, because I love nature shows. They fill me up. That's what I do. So this isn't about pushing away disturbing or anxious feelings. This is about allowing them and saying, I got room for you too. In fact, I need you. Because when I can really hold myself in uncomfortable situations, when I experience happiness, it's like this unhappiness was what I needed to feel this. So we don't want to push that away. That's the learning. Does that make sense? That makes sense, everyone?
Yeah. I also want to point out that I think a lot of I'm speaking from experience here. A lot of the happiness, we see it as big things. I got more money, I'm going on vacation, I bought a boat, or I don't know, made a lot of spaghetti.
I love that one.
But it can be something just like that, watching documentaries that you love, on a random Wednesday afternoon, when normally you would be like, oh, I have to run these errands because if I don't, I'm just never going to do it. And it's so important. I have to get it done now. But you're not in the energy to do so. So then you create this unhappy feeling.
Exactly. Or you do something to get out of the unhappiness that's not healthy.
Yeah. Stop at Burger King or
Burger King, let's go have a martini, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
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 How do you stay in the discomfort in a way that feels like you're in the learning rather than in the avoiding? Yeah, there's one other thing I wanted to say to you about the nervous system and the rest, because this is new too. So Sarah, I know I spoke to you, and I'm not sure if I spoke to you about it, Amy, but it was these terms called the manager and the protector of the nervous system, and how when we rest, the protector of the nervous system, which is the one that's hypervigilant, the one that says, when you had difficulty as a kid, this is what we did. I protected you. I protected you from that, right? So this is what we did. So it's like, how do we quiet those old messengers, the protector and the manager, down enough to say, listen, we're going to do things differently. I know you did well by me. It worked for a while. It's not working anymore.
Yeah.
So that's another opportunity, that we have when we meet states of rest. And this is why your meditations, your reflections, your walk in natures, your family time, your laughter, your dancing, one of my favorite things. This is why these restorative practices are so, so valuable to this conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my next question was, what steps can an individual take to begin the process of rediscovery? And you kind of already answered that.
Yeah. Well, I'm all about this baby step stuff.
Mhm.
And I think what I'd really like to do, unless there's specific questions from the group, is to put those suggestions into our replay notes. Because what we're trying to do as a team is to offer you the opportunity to interact with this. You know, these are on my website, they're free offerings. And I just want to be really clear here that, you know, the best way to start is to start and start small. Like that breath we did, the meditation to do when you don't know what to do. When you actually just say, for the next 40 days, I am going to do this breath for 3 minutes or 8 rounds like we did, whatever. I'm going to, you know, get out of bed, brush my teeth, go into my study and do this, put my little timer on for 3 minutes, and I'm going to do it every day for 40 days. 40 days begins to change the habit. Okay. Your brain starts to say, whoa, I guess we're doing this, huh? Wow. Notice what's happening. Notice what psychologically is happening, physiologically is happening. Notice how when I go out in the world and I've taken 3 to 6 minutes before my day starts, how profoundly different my day feels.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that maybe the next time we meet, that some of you beautiful people are going to say, yeah, I'm going to go do something like that and come back to tell us how you're feeling, what's going on, what happened. That's what I'm hoping for, because I am here to tell you it works. It sounds like low-hanging fruit, but guess what? It really works.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the small things. It's the small things that add up into the big daily things that shape our happiness or negativity.
That's right. That's right. And you know what, guys? It could be as simple as, this is like something I do. It could be as simple as when you're washing the dishes, for the love of God, wash the dishes. Don't be anywhere else. If you're in the shower, preparing to go somewhere, be in the shower. Not in the car, be in the shower.
And
So it is, Sarah, is there any more questions, or are we good for questions at this stage?
I think we're good. I think we have about 10 minutes left. And if
Yes.
anyone has any questions, then we can open up the chat, or maybe even we do some like raise hands if anyone wants to
Speak up.
speak.
Yeah. Just raise your little, how do they do it? They go over here on reactions at the base of the
I
screen.
think so, yeah.
well,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So, well, but oops. Oh,
Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and mute.
Okay.
There we go. If you have a question, just make sure you put in the chat if you have a question, or raise your hand so that we can unmute you. I'm just hearing some background noise.
I just want to look here. Stacy R to everyone. She says, I think I have had a hard time viewing it as inauthentic when for me, I feel I was so sincere in my need to please. Yep. I feel better now that I can see the patterns that were based out of my feelings of unworthiness and began to move into new beliefs and behaviors. I was giving myself away and leaving nothing for myself, but it was my truth at the time. Yes, I guess. I know what you mean, though. Thankfully, I'm learning to be a much better friend to myself these days. About a year ago on a call, you and Thomas, oh, Thomas, you suggested I look into support groups for codependency based on my share question. I did. Oh, beautiful. And it has changed everything. Fantastic. Many thanks. I'm learning to show up for myself now, to give myself rest when I need it, to allow my feelings to come up and sit in the discomfort, to accept all parts of me. Well, isn't that great? I'd love to hear that. How about that, Thomas? That beautiful. Beautiful. Great. Thomas says, I learned to have to do actions sometimes that I don't feel like doing. If I wait until I feel like doing it, I may never do it. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? So that's courageous. And that's a perfect example of having the energy, right? If we're worn out and we have nothing left, we're probably not going to challenge ourselves by saying, yeah, we are going to do it. We are going to do it. So there's a beautiful example of that. Thank you, Thomas. I believe I am myself at every moment. I may not be totally pleased with the moments when I'm not as kind or patient, but I see the totality as being my journey. Yes, yes, Sonny. I consciously strive to stop beating myself up for not being this or that or whatever. And then I can relax into just being myself, whatever that may be at that moment. I love that. Jenny, oh no, I'm in Australia and thought this started now for me, but I see I missed it. Oh, we see you. My north node is part of a yod with my Neptune and Pluto. Oh, I'm not sure what that means. I don't know what it means. It is in the second house of Capricorn. Thank you for that. I'm not up on all that astrological stuff, but I always appreciate hearing more about that. All right. Anybody else want to raise their hand or have something to say? I sure have loved being here with you tonight. Sam, what does Sam say here? Sam says, I think I understand. I don't want to continue the inauthentic self, but I don't know where to start with refinding me. Well, that is a really great question. This is what I would love to offer you is start with what feels really good. Like for me, it's dancing. I sometimes will watch because my family, we're dancers. We love to move the furniture and crank up the tunes. And I always notice we're often taking pictures and stuff in those times. And I will look at those pictures and I will see somebody that looks like sometimes not recognizable to myself. Just so joyous, so, just so me. And so I love doing that a lot. And what I tuned into, Sam, was what do I love to do and really noticing it again through the body, how it feels, but also what don't I like doing? What don't I like doing? That's something that, again, I work on with clients because some things we have to do, right? Some things we just have to do. So how do we also use tools that allow us to do things that we don't like to do in a better way? How do we do that? So how do we take care of ourselves in those situations? So I would just start right there. Just noticing, what do you love to do? What don't you love to do? Maybe in the notes, I'll give you guys an invitation with the small practice. to start and point to this breath work. And we can see if this is something that you're able to do. Angela says, I try to ask my heart if whatever I have to do brings joy to my heart. If not, I will try to stay away from it. Yeah, that's a good one. Well, we're almost there. I'd love to hear from you if you feel like it. Marcia says, thanks all, such a rich hour. Can't wait for more monthly chats. Aw, me too, Marsh. Stacy says, I have so much gratitude for this offering and this community of seekers. May we all find what we love in ourselves and live from that place. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Thomas says, also surround yourself with people that celebrate your victories. Yes, beautiful, Thomas. My friend Thomas. Thomas and I shared the Trauma Recovery Summit. So I hosted a Trauma Recovery Summit, boy, I think it's 2 years ago now. And Thomas was one of the speakers. And Thomas and I have remained friends. And boy, I'll tell you, I loved our interview. I wonder if there's any way of putting the interview on, Amy. I don't know. We'll see what we can do because it's a really great interview. Christoph says, thank you. I liked the breathing exercise at the beginning. Good evening. Sunny said to Sam, I've gotten into the habit of searching back in time for revisiting the self I was before things went rogue. Now those touch points in time help to ground me in authenticity. Love these. Marcia, and surround yourself with people whose eyes light up when they see you coming. Thomas, thank you, Thomas. Thank you for being here. Marcia, and love the music when we began. So soothing. Marilyn says, thank you. Love the comment about asking if something brings joy to my heart. In deep gratitude to you all. Oh, wow. Well, we have one more here. I'm a newish parent and really am trying to not mask parts of myself to show up for my child too. Thanks for this talk. You're so very welcome. You're so very welcome. Well, as I do, this is something that we did in Kundalini Yoga to wrap the evening up. And so I'd love you to bring your hands together or on your heart, whatever feels best to you, or anywhere that feels as though you are safe and surrounded. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Peace, peace, blessed peace. See you soon. Such a pleasure. Farewell. Farewell, everyone. Farewell, everyone. Have a beautiful evening. We look forward to getting you the replays. Bye, everyone.